Lucille Goldman sent this question. Did you vote for John McCain in the 2008 presidential election?
I did.
Really?
Of course.
But you've been so critical of John McCain.
Yes, but you weigh the two. I don't think, there are a lot of people, Chris, that are saying there's no difference in two parties. I know a lot of people think that, and they really, really believe it. But I don't know of any Republican who would try to take over 1/6 of the U.S. economy. I don't know one Republican who would put forth this irresponsible cap and trade bill. I don't know one Republican actually do that as something he initiated.
Let's talk about the state of the GOP. A recent Fox News poll found that the approval rating for the president has dropped to 49%, but meanwhile, only 25% of people approve of congressional Republicans. As voters have growing doubts about the president and his policies, why aren't they turning to the opposition? Is there something that the Republican Party lacks in the way of a positive, affirmative agenda?
The Republican Party needs to learn something. If it goes country club, blue blood moderate, it's going to lose. If it goes Reagan conservative and commits to it, it's going to win landslides.
To press my question, why aren't people turning to the Republicans?
Well, right now there's no central Republican leader to turn to, and there's no central Republican message. The Republican message is sort of muddied. What do they stand for? Right now it's opposition to Obama.
And is that enough?
Well, it may be in 2010. I mean, I actually do think that there's going to be a revolt against the Democrat Party and against Obama, even if voters in 2010 have nothing to vote for.
So do you think that the Republican Party, do you see it as a big tent party or a small tent party?
Big tent.
But you sound like you're kind of saying to the moderates, particularly on social issues, if we lose you, too bad.
When I say big tent, I look at the United States of America. So I'm an American. I love this country. I want everybody in it to do well. The conservative message is not, okay, Hispanics, we have this plan for you. Women, we have this plan for you. That's what the Republican Party is trying to do and emulate group politics. And the history is that, why be Democrat light? Let them handle that. Let's go after the big tent that is the country, and let's go get every person in this country. I don't care what their race is, what their gender is, what their sexual orientation is. If they are told that there is somebody that's going to lead this country or party that is actually going to strengthen them, give them the tools, get out of their way, and let them make this country work, the Republican Party can attract a majority like they haven't seen since the 80s.
In the Time magazine article about Glenn Beck recently,
oh yeah,
they write, just as you found your place as the triumphant champion of the age of Reagan, that Beck is tapping into the fear and anger on the right today. Is that why you think he struck such a chord? Because he taps into the fear and the anger of the conservatives today? There
is a lot of fear. There's a tremendous amount of fear in the country over what is happening in Washington to individual liberty and freedom. He may well have tapped into that. The anger, I think that's sometimes overplayed because it's become a cliche for the left to say angry white men as a way of denigrating conservative energy and ideology. But there's no question there's a lot of anger. And if he's tapped into that, I wouldn't be surprised.
When you look at Glenn Beck and you see this explosion,
yeah,
what do you feel?
Well, I'm kind of proud.
No envy, no competition?
No. My radio audience is astronomically high. Look at 1988, there was nobody doing what I'm doing. Nobody. You had CNN was the only cable network, and you had the three networks and the newspapers. And now look what's out. All of this conservative media, conservative talk radio, television, Fox News, the conservative blogosphere. I mean, in one way, I could, if I wanted to have my ego be as big as Obama's is, I could say, look what I created. So any success out there on my side, conservative media, damn, if it's going to help us get this country back, bring more in.
Let's talk about you. You said recently, I actually thank God for my addiction to pain pills because I learned more about myself in rehab than I would have ever learned otherwise. What did you learn from drug rehab?
One of the things that I had always had trouble with in my life was trying to be what other people expected me to be or wanted me to be in my personal life, because I wanted to be liked. You know, everybody's raised to want to be liked and to want to be loved. Nobody wants to grow up being hated. Now, interestingly, my radio career, I don't care. You know, I figured that out. It was a tough thing, Chris, to learn to take as a measure of success being hated, you know, by 20 or 30% of the country. I mean, that's because nobody's raised for that. But in my personal life, the thing I learned most was that the only way to have real intimacy with people, real solid relationships, is to be who you are. That will attract the kind of people worthy of having intimate relationships with, good friendships with.
And without putting you on the couch, are you saying that the addiction came from some sense of personal inadequacy?
Of course, yeah. It wasn't good enough. I was masking unhappiness elsewhere, not dealing with the real reasons I was unhappy in my personal life. I had never experienced the kind of euphoria that I got from a pain pill. I think the only time that I really, with all the success I've had, the only time I've had that kind of euphoria was when I made the high school football team as a sophomore. I was never prouder of myself, but all my career achievements did not create that for me, because you got to maintain it every day. It's not something you earn and then it lasts forever. And I don't look back. I don't stop and think about what I've accomplished, because there's always tomorrow. So I don't have time for the euphoria. I don't have time for the, man, am I something? I'm too busy trying to meet everybody's expectations tomorrow. So the pain pills came along and they masked all these feelings of inadequacy that I had. Now, after just 7 weeks of this place in Arizona, I have zero feelings of inadequacy. It's not been replaced by an irresponsible ego. It's just a confidence in who I am.
You signed a new contract last year. 8 years, reportedly, $400 million.
Reportedly, right.
So I'll go to the horse's mouth. True?
It could be true. You know, I'm a guy who earns a percentage of what I generate every year. There are some guarantees, but I'll tell you, the $400 million is not guaranteed. I have to earn that.
But you could earn $400 million.
I could. I'm ahead of schedule, in fact.
And don't get me wrong.
Right.
I think you're a great broadcaster. How can you possibly be worth that kind of money?
Very simply, value is determined by what somebody will pay you to do what you do. I'm probably worth more. I'm not complaining. Do not misunderstand. But you know, this whole question. See, I'm a capitalist. You're worth whatever you can get. You're worth whatever your value is, and that's determined by what somebody's willing to pay you for it. And the only reason I get that money is because the people who invest in me get results beyond their expectations.
All right. You believe in the free market.
I do.
Let's talk about the NFL and the decision to drop you as a possible owner. What about the argument, look, this is a bunch of billionaire owners sitting around and saying Rush Limbaugh isn't good for business. Is that the free market?
Yeah, but that didn't happen. It never was allowed to get to that point. My name was leaked as being part of a group. Roger Goodell, the commissioner, goes out and cites a 6-year-old quote that I made about Donovan McNabb, got it all wrong. Jim Irsay of the, I call him Hearsay because he's repeating things that weren't true, the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, joins the chorus. And I never got past first base. I mean,
so what do you think that was about? What do you think happened?
Well, I think it's actually about the fact that the NFL is about to lose its current collective bargaining agreement with the players. And guess who happens to be the new executive director of the Players Association? A guy named DeMaurice Smith, who is Obama. He's part of his transition team. He has suggested that the Congress, the White House, might get involved to stop a player or an owner lockout. So I think, and he got involved in this too. You know, he was out participating in the spreading of quotes I didn't say, warning Goodell and the owners what might. I think this is a warning shot across the bow, saying to the NFL, look, we're going to be close to running this league, not you. We don't want this guy here. And I think, I don't really take this personally, but I do think it was a bunch of cowardice all the way around.